I'll wait a bit for you guys to come into the chat. I generally don't like to wait, but I have time today. So I'm going to wait. Aloha. Thank you for tuning in. I wanted to just talk about all the things that went wrong on the Diddy trial and get everybody's thoughts on it. Because, yeah, usually when I'm on here, I'm reading chats. And so I can't even talk about it. Sorry. Hi. Thanks. Thank you for tuning in. So I wanted to talk about all the things that went wrong on the Diddy trial. And normally when I do these lives, I don't really engage with people on here in my chat because I'm usually reading something and it takes my attention away. So if you guys have anything in particular that you want to talk about, that's very sweet of you, girl dad, cooking up deliciousness. So whatever you guys want to talk about is what I will talk about. I have some things that I do want to talk about. So first and foremost, it was the charges. I think it was the charges. Like, I think the prosecution did a poor job of the charges. Like, I understand that it has to be federal charges, things that they can get on them for federal crimes. But so why didn't you go with the guns? You had guns? Like, how much drugs did you guys find? Like, couldn't you guys have chosen charges that could have made it a easy, no-brainer, guilty verdict? But the counts that you guys had was just kind of shitty. Definitely not going to do that, Malix. I'm here to talk about Diddy. You sounded like Diddy in the chat. But you can follow and subscribe if you like. Thank you for tuning in. So we're just talking about the Diddy trial. First things first, I think the prosecution did a shitty-ass job. Their case, Jane Doe, was horrible. Jane Doe was terrible. It was like she was just like so in love with him, and all she ever wanted was just to have alone time with him. I was like, man, I feel like Jane Doe hurt that case more than anything. Jane Doe was fucking terrible. Not to mention, it seems like Jane Doe gets around to all those guys in that whole what do you call, hip hop music scene, whatever. Cool, whatever. Anyways, I think she hurt the case really, really bad. I think she was terrible. I think she put a lot of holes. And then their counts were shitty. Like, I'm hoping, that they're actually working on a federal case right now where they have, now that KK's been talked about all over this trial, now they're working behind the scenes on KK. My channel is all about exposing corruption, which stems from, I live in Maui, and it stems from Maui Police Chief John Pelletier being named in a lawsuit with Diddy. And when the Maui Police Commission, who is his oversight, was called to take action, they did nothing. You know what? To be honest, King, I would never go to a Diddy party because I'm just not that person. I'm not a person who's impressed by money or clout or celebrity status. I have a lot of friends who are. I know people who are, but I'm going to a party with a ton of people, especially I don't even know. No, I'm cool. Like, the people I like for instance, this is my style. The people I like is like if I see a band, like in Hawaii, there's a band, and I just think the bass player does a really great job playing the bass. I want to meet the bass player. If that makes any sense. I genuinely only want to meet people that interest me. Oh, I hope you like John Cena. Hi, Mohammed. I hope you like John Cena because you're looking at him right now. Anyways, okay, so let's go back and talk about Diddy. So first of all, it was all the charges. They could have done a hell of a lot better with better charges. Like, could you not have did gun charges? Could you not have done drug charges? They did a shitty job, and I think it was a show trial. Hi, Muhammad. As long as it's not crude, I mean, I'm sure it's fine. Anyways, I think that Maureen Comey, first of all, also having a whole team of 6 white women as prosecutors, I think they were totally unrelatable to the jury. Diddy was very smart. His legal team was very smart and very very what you call intentional. I'm sorry. Why I want to lock him up so bad. So this is my thought. The lawsuit that names Jean Pelletier, my police chief, is pretty disgusting. And I've read a bunch of the lawsuits. And so the thing I've noticed is that there's a common theme in all of them. And then when I watched the Diddy trial, it all had the same common theme. Muhammad, you can ask me whatever you want. Whether I'll answer, I don't know, but you can ask it. Anyways, so to me, I think when there's a lot of the things from being said by different people that all sound the same, and then we just had a federal trial that lists the same things, then it gives more credibility to all those lawsuits. So like I've read a bunch of the other lawsuits. Oh, well, I don't know who Lisa is. But anyways, I've read a lot of the other lawsuits, and my biggest thing is like, man, I read more worse, disgusting things in the civil lawsuits. Why couldn't they have gotten any of the shit in that? Thank you, buddy. I don't even know who Blackpink is. I don't know if you're baiting me into saying something. I don't know. I don't know who that is. But anyways, I think there's worse Diddy lawsuits. And it's like, why didn't you get any of those other people? Like, especially the Ashley Parham one that names my police chief John Pelletier. Like, why didn't you? Thank you, Buddy B. Why didn't you go find witnesses like that? Like people who would be like a slam dunk, but instead you brought your 2 ex-girlfriends who was like in love with you. And it was such a blurred line of consensual and non-consensual. And it's like, what the hell was the prosecution doing? I think they're doing a shitty ass job. Came for the Me Too. You know what? I was watching that. I feel like a lot of the changes came for the Me Too females. Well, you know what, David? He's got a world of troubles. He's got so many lawsuits with more and more dropping every single day. Did you guys hear about the one that just dropped today? I think, or last night, about the guy who is basically, it says him, Diddy, and another woman. So we think it's Cassie, but he talks about that he was hired to dance because back in the day, or I don't know, back in the day, maybe 2000s. Anyways, he was hired to dance, and then they asked him. They were both masked. Cassie and Diddy is who we think it is. We don't know who the girl is. And then they propositioned him to have sex with her. So they hired him to dance for them privately in their room. He propositioned to have sex with them. They paid him. And I want to say he came back another time, and they ended up drugging him. And sorry, I'm getting messages. They ended up drugging him, and he woke up covered in baby oil and sore and disoriented. And then like weeks later, he started getting anal warts or anal sores around his butt. And so this new lawsuit is pretty gnarly. But so when you ask me why I want to, yeah, it was pretty, that's very sweet of you, buddy. I am engaged though, but thank you. What do you call, yes, the new lawsuit. And so there's so many lawsuits that are way worse than what the prosecution brought. So I don't know if you guys have heard of show trial, which that's very sweet of you, buddy. Thank you. I don't know if you guys know what show trial is, but that's what they're calling this. They're calling it a show trial, which means it was basically a whole trial for show for the public. And it didn't really show us any of the evidence because the real evidence would have actually implicated higher people who have way more power than him. And so as a protective measure to them, none of the real shit was actually exposed. So all of this was just for sure. Chris, I know nothing about people of the night. I mean, I know that I am not a person of the night, and I've never used a person of the night, although I've seen them walking before. So I think they could have had a stronger case. Next thing I think was the 6 white women. I think they did a poor job. The prosecution, they really should have fucking had a whole. They could have had at least somebody of color. They should have had a male on there. Um, I would impress the mother. Okay, thank you. I don't know. They should have. They did not relate to the jury. Okay, so that's one of the things wrong. And here's another thing that I think is a big deal for why they didn't give him a guilty plea. Because I read everything and I feel that they met the burden of proof for the counts. But there's 2 things with the jury that I think matters. And one of them is that they sent a note out. They already had come to a verdict for counts 2 through 5, but they could not agree on count 1. And they were split down the middle. Okay. Split both sides. So they send a note out to the judge and they're like, hey, we have this verdict, but we can't decide on count number 1. What should we do? And so the judge met with the prosecution and met with the defense team, and they're like, just they can read the instructions and then go back. So they bring the jurors out. The judge tells them, hey, go back and deliberate because no other jury is going to be in a different position. Mark, I really hope there are more charges coming. But anyway, so he tells the jury, go back in and just keep deliberating until you guys come to a unanimous decision. And I think they failed there because they have been sitting in that courtroom for 7 weeks. They can't talk to anybody about it. They can't go on their phones. Like, they can't watch the news. They can't look at social media. They can't read anything, right? So they're really imprisoned by this trial. Mind you, all day, every day, all they're hearing about is all this. All they're hearing about is freak offs, all these stories. Okay. So they're completely immersed in Diddy's trial. Meanwhile, they go home. They cannot talk about it to their partners. They cannot call their friends. They're so imprisoned by this case that by the time they got to that point, they're just like, we're done. So essentially, it was split down the middle, and the people who thought he was guilty on RICO all switched over and chose not guilty instead. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that the judge could have did a better job of maybe asking them, what specifically are you guys having trouble with? And then explaining to them maybe a little bit more of the instructions, and then sending them back. Instead of just telling them, hey, you still got to go. Oh yeah, I got real big ass eyelashes. Huge. I like them big and long. Eyelashes, that is. So anyways, I feel like the judge could have helped them gain a little bit more clarity before just sending them back. So I think that hurt the verdict. And then on the flip side of it, the second reason why I think that's the jury didn't vote or choose guilty is because it's the 4th of July weekend. Okay. And so they were only going to be in court Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday, Friday was going to be closed for the holiday. Okay. What I think they should have done is a judge should have been like, we're going to start deliberation on Monday, July 7th. That way they don't have to worry about it. But what happened was they were pressured by time, right? They're like, oh, we got to make the decision by Wednesday. But what they didn't know is that the judge and the defense, and they already had decided that they were going to let them come back on Thursday and start deliberating on Thursday as well. Even though court was supposed to be closed, they were willing to come in on Thursday, right? So instead, what did they do? They were just like, no, we want to be done. We want to have it done in time because we're over this case. We want to go celebrate 4th of July with our families. We don't want to be confined to this anymore. So they were like rushed into that decision versus let's start deliberation July 7th on Monday. And they no longer have that feeling. But also in that meantime, they were able to kind of take that break away from the Diddy trial, spend times with their family, kind of just get to relax a little bit. And then they could come back on July 7th with a more clear mind. But they were really, Monday they went in, and then they were just kind of like on this like time constraint of like, let's do it, let's get it, and let's like get it done now, because they were so afraid. They thought they had until Wednesday. They didn't know that they were going to have them come in on Thursday if they needed to, right? They already decided that, the judge and the defense and prosecution. but they didn't tell them that because they wanted them to organically still deliberate. Okay. And so what it did is, and then this is how we know that that was it, because they came in Wednesday morning and boom, within the next hour, they had the answer. They were over it. They were sick of it. They couldn't talk to their friends. If they're married, they can't talk to their partners. But yet they're sitting there 8 hours a day, 9 hours a day, listening to all this Diddy shit, and they can't talk about it to anybody. You know what I mean? So they're just, in my opinion, they're over it. They're done. They're like, fuck it. Give me that paper. I'll switch over to the not guilty side with you guys because I want to get the hell out of here. That is my opinion. That is what I think. Thank you, Carolyn, as to why. So what else did I think? Oh, I do think this part is funny too. Well, thanks, Kay. It's fine. I knew that they were going to only find some charges guilty. So we shall see. What I do think is really funny though, right? So they denied the bail, right? And so they give the verdict and then they're like, okay, we're going to take a break. Prosecution and defense, you guys can, because the defense wanted Diddy out right away, right? So they're like, go ahead, bring me your proposals and I'll look over the statutes, blah, 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 blah. And so that's when Cassie, right? Cassie sent in her letter through her lawyer saying for her safety and for the safety of all the other people who testified, don't release him yet. Deontay Nash's letter is really good, by the way, if you guys haven't read it. I have an Instagram called Connect the Dots with Jenny, and in there I post all that stuff. So if you guys want to go check that out, and by the way, hit the like and subscribe button too while you guys are here. I appreciate it. Anyways, they sent in the letter, and then it comes down to the time, right, where the judge comes back and he's like, okay, I made a decision, and he says he denied it. He walks in and he just said bail denied. Like, I love that. I love that. Bring the sledgehammer, give it to me now. Don't like make it drag it out. Anyways, so he says to Mark Agnifilo, because Mark Agnifilo, during his closing arguments, he says, this is just a DV case. Cassie, I feel sorry for Cassie. Yes, Cassie, he got beat by Cassie. And so the judge literally took Mark Agnifilo's words and turned it around on him and was like, you said yourself, he's dangerous. He beat her. He needs to stay locked up. Bail is denied. Mark, you know what, Mark? I am holding out hope and I am right there with you, buddy, because I think there is a lot of nasty things that happen in Hollywood. Pedophilia, sex trafficking, and we shall see what happens. I'm not too sure, but I will be following it. So if you guys want to subscribe to my channel, I follow reliable sources and I share it with you guys as quickly as I can. So the defense is wanting Diddy to have 21 months, right? And the prosecution wants 51 months. Here's what I think. The judge has not been too kind with Diddy in those ways, right? So they're going to have the sentencing in October. The judge said, I'm willing to bring that sentencing date closer, right? So in July 8th, they're going to meet. They're going to have a meeting this Tuesday at 2, and then July 8th, they're going to meet. Hi from Brooklyn. It's Craigie Bish. Hi. Aloha. Mahalo. Free Diddy Runway. Well, Runway, he's going to be free. So your wish is coming true. I mean, unless if they bring other federal charges against him, we shall see, hoping and praying. Anyway, so defense wants 21 months. Prosecution wants 51 months. They're going to meet and figure it out in July 8th as far as what kind of sentencing. They need to come to some sort of agreement. It's basically like a plea deal. They both need to come to a certain amount of sentencing that works for them. But ultimately, in the end, the judge is the one who makes the final decision as to who is going or what Diddy's sentence is going to be. Hi, Craigie Bish. Am I saying it right? Craigie Bish. Let me see. We're gonna find out about that. Oh, and the 6 white women. And I guess that is everything. Diddy gang. Oh, I see you're a Diddy gang, huh? Well, there's a lot of people who's a Diddy gang. You know what, David Taylor? I do not speak Spanish. I am Hawaiian. I live in Hawaii. Yes, girl dad cooking up please hit that like and that subscribe. I appreciate you guys being here, watching. Tuesday at 2 p.m. they're gonna have a remote meeting, so that's just gonna be online. But I'm gonna check in with Inner City Press in case you guys don't follow him. He's on X. He's always like in the courtroom. I always follow his stuff to find out factual information. Thank you, Girl Dad Cooking Up Deliciousness, for hitting me up in the chat. I appreciate you guys. Hit that subscribe button, and I will be back. I'm gonna start putting out more content about John Pelletier, who is on Maui, and he was named that gross. Thank you, Brendan. Oh, Maori, Maori. I would love to actually go to New Zealand. I've never been, but most of my content surrounds Maui and exposing corruption here. Oh, your English, David. Yes, try your English. Thank you, Brendan. I really appreciate it. These are fake lashes. But I think I'm going to go. Thank you so much to everybody for tuning in. Hit that like button and that subscribe button. I appreciate it. And I will bring you content all of the time from Panama, Central America. Aloha, David. Well, welcome to. Are you still in Panama, Central America? I guess I was going to say welcome to America, but that's probably wrong and inaccurate. Anyways, thank you guys. Alrighty. Well, have a wonderful evening. I need to go home. I gotta go cook dinner for everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Have a wonderful night. Aloha.